So this human sock puppet is Benny Johnson. And although you might recognize him from when he got roasted by Jon Stewart on The Daily Show,
losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Like, were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing.
Except money. Losing money costs you money.
you might actually recognize him from when he was a writer for BuzzFeed, before they had to let him go when it was discovered he was committing plagiarism back in 2014. But the good news for Benny is that now he's figured out how to actually get paid for using other people's words, though he might not have known it at the time.
Turns out those right-wing media personalities who were spewing insane pro-Russia misinformation were paid by Russia. The Justice Department indicted 2 people working for the TV network Russia Today for illegally funneling $10 million to right-wing YouTubers to push narratives favorable to the Kremlin. The indictment goes after Tenet Media and its roster of influencers, including Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, and Benny Johnson. These influencers collectively made at least $10 million from Russians who directed them to follow pro-Russia talking points. As Molly Knight points out, Tim Pool and Benny Johnson have gotten more money from Russia than Hunter Biden allegedly got from Burisma.
Now, Benny Johnson is one of those MAGA influencers, those anti-woke trolls that got us to where we are today. And much like how the introduction to television highly influenced the presidential election between JFK and Nixon, Trump knew how to utilize memes and trolls to, get himself back into the White House. And since every day it seems like we're getting a little bit closer to civil war, especially now that our president is talking about sending another occupying force into another American city, I thought it'd be a good idea to actually talk about this guy. Now, what he does is pretty much imply the same formula that all of these anti-woke echo chamber channels do, which is just relentlessly spam YouTube with videos that will either do one of 3 things. Either A, defend MAGA, B, glaze Trump, or C, they just attack woke. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't like him. I don't like Benny Johnson. And it's not because he's a Republican. I have Republicans in my family. That has nothing to do with it. I can agree to disagree with people. No, what I can't stand about this guy is how much of a worm he is. And not just a worm, but the degree of worm. Going so far as to actually defend putting American troops in danger, because he doesn't have to admit that one of the MAGA dicks he's been riding for the past couple of years might have actually made a mistake.
Okay, before we get into the D's...
I'm the only one smiling, Piers. This is going to be a very bad D panel. Very small D energy on this panel.
Well, before we get to D's, why don't we start...
Still didn't laugh.
Well, before we start with D's, let's start with S for signal. How could specifics about an imminent attack 2 hours before it's about to happen on foreign soil involving American armed forces, detailing times, detailing the type of aircraft, the type of weaponry, who the targets were. The group chat was named after the targets, right? How could that not constitute classified information? If that isn't classified information, given the time sensitivity of it and the information in those chats, what is?
Well, hold up. Wait a second, Piers. You're not in charge of what's classified and what's not. Secretary of Intelligence is going to be Tulsi Gabbard, right? DNI. She's going to be the one who states classification. And she said that there was no classified material in that chat.
Fun fact about Tulsi Gabbard, she was involved in the Signal chat. So essentially, she's the one that gets to decide whether or not what she did was wrong. It's like when a teacher gives a shitty student the opportunity to give them themselves the grade they think they deserve, but they ultimately learn nothing.
You would demand
you keep saying
that.
It's illegal.
Hang on. Here's the question.
That's not up to you, pal.
Here's the question.
It's not up to you.
Here's my question.
Classification process.
Here's my question for you. You would have said that national security advisor should be fired, wouldn't you?
Oh, well, hold on. So Mike Waltz has gone on TV and he's been in front of a ton of reporters saying that he doesn't know this guy and he doesn't have his contact information. He's never met him.
It's embarrassing, right. Yes. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone. look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the
execute
number? I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number?
Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right?
In my opinion, this was a huge fuck up. Everyone involved should resign in disgrace. And I know I'm no one. I'm an expert in pretty much nothing, so there's no reason to take my opinion. You should take his.
Everybody's so upset at the app saying, no! My drill sergeant sense is tingling, but that can only mean one thing. The Vice President, Secretary of Defense, and other high-ranking government officials accidentally leaked information regarding military strikes over a messaging app you can get from the App Store. Clean shaven and misbehaving. Signal, somebody must have got their signals crossed, because in no way, shape, or form is it OPSEC, operational security, for those of you who don't know, for people high up in the freaking government and DOD to start chitter-chatting like a bunch of teenage girls on an app you could download from the Google Play Store. Oh my God, Becky, I think we're gonna bomb the Houthis today. LOL, ROFL, crying face laughing emoji. Is this what we've become?
And I know I'm not a smart man, but I do think it's a better idea to take the opinion of military matters from someone who's actually serving in the military and not listen to someone who's just pretty much puts out the same kind of YouTube videos as YouTubers that beg you to buy their coffee.
I don't drop ship my coffee. We roast our own special blends. We hand flavor our beans.
That's every coffee company. Every coffee company tells you this.
And don't get me started on how he's just willing to overlook the alleged sex trafficking of underage girls. Because in the beginning, he was more than willing to be on the front lines fighting for the release of the list and being a platform for voices trying to, uncover what the truth is.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word, or whoever that guy is, as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Later. FBI Director Kash Patel says he has no plans to resign despite calls for him to step down over his department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Last week, the Justice Department announced there was no evidence that the disgraced sex trafficker kept a so-called client list. That's despite Patel and other cabinet members suggesting there was a list and that Epstein may have been murdered in prison rather than dying by suicide. On social media, Patel now calls those conspiracy theories untrue.
And then seeing him realize that he was pretty much just a pawn, and that everything he was fighting for led to nothing, it was literally like watching a man's brain just break in real time.
The reason why old clips of our program continually go viral on the subject, and we are very proud of it. It's probably the proudest I've been of this program, because what we're doing is we're seeing God's plan taking effect. We've been asking this question back when we had 10. How many viewers do we have, Alex? How many viewers would we have when we went live? 10? And most of those are probably my wife watching on like 10 different devices. God has a plan. It's humbling.
If by God's plan you mean protecting rich pedophiles, I guess.
This photo is guaranteed. Then, by the way, they walked him out in front of the world's press. It was a setup. They should be furious. These are some of President Trump's most ardent supporters. People that appear on our show regularly. People we love. There's the TikTok. Scott Pressler's on the other side. Cernovich is on the other side. Cernovich has done an enormous amount of work on the Epstein issue. Very honorable and noble work. And they trotted these people out to humiliate them. It was an embarrassment. And these are some of President Trump's strongest allies. And so it's really, really, truly frustrating.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
But then he quickly remembered where his money comes from, and then he quickly changed course.
President Trump should be proud of what he's done on this issue. We have President Trump to thank for the mainstreaming and mainlining of this issue. And in some of his earliest days in politics, he's the only one who was talking about it, showed incredible bravery, and the only case that Epstein ever caught was because of President Trump. Set up a special counsel, set up a special team of third-party investigators to go after the DOJ, the Bureau of Prisons, the FBI, to go after prior administrations, Why should Trump and this administration suffer for the sins of prior administrations? Why is the Trump team taking the fall? Why is the Trump team taking the fall for the sins and demonic evils of other administrations? That is the lingering question, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know, Benny. I have no idea. Why do people keep bringing Trump up in all of this? I can't imagine. But I mean, at least everyone at MAGA can relax that these underage girls didn't have to share the bathroom with a trans person when they were cleaning up after these rich guys were done with them. And the amount of influence this guy has gained is fucking terrifying. Because now he's in the White House. He is in the press corps now. He's able to ask questions. Or just make a series of scary statements.
We'll start with our new media seat, who is our podcast host today, Benny Johnson. Benny, why don't you kick us off, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Caroline. As a DC resident of 15 years, I lived on Capitol Hill. I witnessed so many muggings and so much theft. I lost track. I was carjacked. I have murders on my Ring camera and mass shootings. I witnessed a woman on my block get held up at gunpoint for $20. And my house was set ablaze in an arson with my infant child inside. That's my house. You can see right there, kind of cream tan colored. That's my neighbor's house. Right there, that house. This house has been burned to the ground, burned to a crisp. And my house was set ablaze in an arson with... That's my neighbor's house. My house. My neighbor's house.
And now, I'm in no way saying that having your neighbor's house set on fire like that isn't traumatic. I get it. That's terrible. Especially, I know how a row house setup is. And so I can imagine having your family just mere feet away from that is terrifying. But to present it like it was an attack on you personally is just what discredits you on
it. Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025... New York Times got humiliated by me after a failed hit piece on my family. Don't want to get too far into this, and the only reason we're relitigating this is because the New York Times decided to tell me that this never happened. I got contact with the New York Times reporter, Ken Bensinger. He's their media reporter at the Times. And he was very offended that I asked that question in the White House. He said my house wasn't set ablaze. What would you call that exactly? My neighbor's house. Now, this is the known drug house on my block. This is the Section 8 housing. The text message I got. Let me have to publish the whole thing. I'm not trying to hide anything. This is the reporter saying, here's all the nasty things we're going to write about you. So here's his direct text message to me. This is a New York Times reporter. Direct text message to me. The footage of the fire, DC fire records show that on October 25th, the arson was actually in your next door neighbor's house. Do you see how the game they're going to play here? My house was set ablaze in an arson. They're going to play stupid like they don't know what a row house is. No humans were injured, although 2 dogs were killed. Get a load of this next line. This is the dude's exact message to me. You've stated your wife and children's lives were put at risk and nearly died. That can't be confirmed or denied based on the police reports, which make no mention that the neighbors were at risk.
It's just disconcerting to see that someone who is like a reporter in the White House saying that fact-checking is an attack. I am glad everyone made it out safe. Thank God. I just think it's a good idea to question the ethics on someone who's willing to pretty much lead us to the cusp of a civil war for alligator Alcatraz merch. Howdy. thank you for watching this video all the way through. If you did, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm doing my best to grow my channel out this year. If you enjoyed this video, I hope I earned your subscription. And yeah, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll see y'all next time.